22 are Zulus, 22 are Oshuns. There's forms of her in Asia. Forms of her is Kuan Yin, Tara. There's different forms of Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity. Well, she got it. Anyway. So I decided, this is my home, and I decided to, you know, something happened. We're supposed to do this sit-down lecture. Let me hold that book there. Yeah, just, I got to keep it because there's some stuff I got to get out of here. So I know where it is if it's there. Yeah, anyway. I mean, it's no problem. You can look at it and all. It's just that when I got to find some stuff, I got to know where it is. But anyway, we was going to do a sit-down lecture. If you've seen some of my tapes, sit-down lectures become very popular because they become more detailed. And we're going to do a sit-down lecture, me and the brother Rudra, in October. And we invited about 8 people, and 30 people showed up. So I was like, well, shit, we might as well keep this rolling. So I decided to cut out the middleman because all the places in Atlanta was charging you too much. Niggas just go crazy, charge you too much for a spot. You got to pay damn near $500 for a spot just to rent out a place. So I said, well, you know, hey, we can do it here. And so we cutting out the middleman, you know. And as a result, you know, so we're trying to see how it goes based on the seating or whatever, and it might be a little crowded or whatever, but hey, I've lectured in places way smaller than this, believe it or not. So, yeah, so as a result, we're going to we probably start doing these once a month. You know, I used to do them once a month back in the 90s. So we're going to do them once a month or every other month. Yeah, go on through, there's some chairs back there. And yeah. So there's some chairs back there. Hold on 1 minute. Do me a pause. Hold up. 5, which was actually the sit-down lecture. Now there's an excellent tape on that you can get with the brother Rudra here to get the DVD. It's called The Day of the Dead at the Lakshmi Shrine. And it's very interesting because it shows the Lakshmi Shrine. Now this is the Lakshmi Shrine in this corner. Now this Lakshmi Shrine usually takes up this whole part, starting from this door here to this wall. So it takes up that and it covers this doorway. And also it's a much more elaborate, rich shrine, so we had to condense it. So we just decided to do it here because it got a lot of good energy. I'm going to pour some libation, and we don't necessarily have to wait on people, you know, wait for some building to come about, you know, to somebody get some things, you know. So we could just do them here. Now, Phil Valentine used to do them in his house. He had a brownstone up in New York, and I thought, and I figured this out, that he used to just have these throw pillars, and people would come there and be all on the floor. And I found out you could even get more people in if they're on the floor. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, niggas with false hips and shit. Now you might get down that motherfucker and might not be able to get back up and stuff like that. You know, and might not be able to get back up. And so, you know, so I don't worry about the people taking off the shoes in the house or whatever, because we're gonna Creole in the place anyway. And if you hadn't heard about that, that's some all-purpose cleaner that you can get to clean your house with. It's called Crayolan. And they sell it downtown at Miller's Drugstore down here, and they got 2 different types. So that means that any kind of spirit that come in your house, you got to get up out of there with some Crayolan. Also, it's very key at this time, and I'm going to talk about this, that you need to get some pineapple juice. Now, Linda, if anybody has come in, it's come in, you could also don't let them miss out on, getting the funds and all, because we don't want them to feel neglected by not paying the money, People get a little upset about that when they're not able to give money, you know what I'm saying? I want to be like Creflo Dollar and them, you know what I'm saying? People got issues when they don't tithe and shit, so, so I don't want to, keep them away from tithing. So, but we got this tape, Lakshmi Day of the Dead. And how many did you bring?
I brought 11 of them.
Okay, so you can get your hands on those. And I have one on a cassette that I just did. It's some much more advanced stuff on Katrina. I did one on Katrina back in October. Then when I went to Cleveland, there was a lot more information came down. So we have a couple of those. It's called the Cosmic DNA Victory. But you want to get that Day of the Dead video because it actually shows the altars, and it can inspire you to put your altars together. Now, This is the Lakshmi altar, which covers this side of the room, because it's much more elaborate. And in the sunroom, you're looking at Urzuli's altar. And that's Urzuli's altar. You know, and here, up over here, you can't see it now because of the chairs. This is the underworld altar. And I got a pot here with a skull in it. And so the brother said, you know, like I said, if anybody come in your house and break in your house and they see that pot with that skull, you just believe they ain't going to stick around to steal shit or whatever, you know. But then again, black people are creative. I got a homeboy, broke in some white folks' house and stole a bunch of stuff, then went down and cut on the TV and started watching TV and started eating, and the damn nigga fell asleep. Watching TV, eating, and the crackers came in and the nigga just sprawled out. You see, so who knows? But I'm just trying to say, it's good to get these particular altars and stuff because it permeates a certain amount of energy. Now, we must understand this particular part about this when you're dealing with this. We're not dealing with religion. We're not talking about you being subordinate to no deity in the universe. These altars only indicate or permeate, or it's a manifestation of what's on the inside of you. So the altar is supposed to be a reflection of you. Everybody's soul is nothing but these gods and goddesses. So that's what. So you don't want to get this twisted on how these altars and different things. We celebrate Lakshmi because Lakshmi is in all of us. Lakshmi sits in the heart chakra, and everybody has a heart chakra. Shiva, the god Shiva, sits in the third eye, or the crown chakra, the third eye. So we got the different entities set on different realms inside of you. And that's the key we got to keep dealing with at this particular time, because at this particular time, the gods that are returning is on the inside of us now. Back in 1999, which started the whole Afghanistan thing with the Taliban, or the Taliban. And that whole Al-Qaeda, which is nothing but a government facility. It's nothing but something invented by the government to be the monkey man or the ghost man for their wars. But a certain incident happened, and you got to do the math on this. A group of people in Afghanistan, which that particular area used to be a part of what is called Kashmir. There's still a form of Kashmir that still exists over there, and that's the land where the Shiva mysteries were taught. The god Shiva is nothing but the god Osiris, the god Dionysus in Phoenicia, later on Greece, and all. But the god Shiva and Osiris is, and this whole Christ complex is this particular energy or this entity or this particular mystery system that was over in Afghanistan. Now, they said in 1999 that they had these celebrations going on. Now, I needed to cut my nails. Anyway, they had these celebrations going on. And they asked them, why were they doing these celebrations? This was in 99. They said, we are celebrating a group of gods that live in some hidden gods that live inside of the United States. And by 2001, this was in 99, by 2001, they was getting the shit bombed out of them. You see what I'm saying? With this whole Taliban thing. And so with the whole Shiva connection, that means that these people know that there's some stuff that's going on here. Not only that, was a group in India that said it. So this whole concept here of we have to understand at this particular time that this thing is coming up out of us. And more so with this particular lecture, which is a very special lecture because we're coming together tonight to celebrate the return of an ancient primordial god called Pan, or Harpocrates, a form of Heru. Now, if you was a Christian, you could say we was coming to celebrate the return of baby Jesus. But in so many words, that's what the whole concept comes from. So we could even say the return of baby Jesus. But that's where that concept came from. So we're real interested in, because we're going to go into this tonight to show you so this is this energy that's permeating, and his rendition or his image is right here at this door. Now this is interesting here because I'm going to pull up libation in a few minutes. Y'all all right? Yeah. This is interesting. Now do you need to light out? Somebody want to just a little intimate setting, and you want to smooch a little bit of, you know, do some things, you know, pop a feel or cop a feel, or well, we can cut the little light down and make it a little romantic and stuff like that, you know. You know, everything's possible. We don't want you to feel not welcome. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's above you. Here's a book called Ancient Christian Magic. Now, how the hell there could be some ancient Christian magic, or what they say pre-Christianity? That means that means there's a Christianity that somebody stole and reworked it. You see, so we're talking about the Coptic religion known as the Gnostics. This particular book, Ancient Christian Magic, it says Coptic text of ritual power. And I want to put this in here. I'm going ahead of myself, but I want to show you this. I want to show you this. The Gnostics worship a deity called Abraxas, another form of Horus, another form of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Another form of Hercules that is the same. See, you thinking these are, you know, mystical stories, and it's all the same thing. You can go and find the Christ. I want to put the word Christ other than the whole Jesus thing, or Christos. But one of the ancient Egyptian forms is called Abraxas. You know, Carlos Santana did a record called Abraxas back in the 70s, and you know, what's on the cover? A black woman, charcoal chocolate black. You see what I'm saying? Butt naked. I should bring that cover out. I got it in here. And she got a dove sitting right where her thing is. You see what I'm saying? Which is very, very powerful. I guess that's why that white woman showed up and released them doves during Michael Jackson's trial. Dove meaning another form of the Heru energy. Now, it's interesting here. I want to show you something here. And I should have blew this up too, but you know, you can't think of everything. Should have blown this one up. This is on page 272. And it is a ritual to a recipe, and it's named Our Lord Jesus Christ. Now, try to understand this. What's confusing people is the Jesus of 2,000 years ago of Rome, even the name was stolen from ancient Egypt. But we don't want to get, you know, because it's got several names. Horus, Khonsu. There's several names. It's not one person that had the monopoly on this Christ form. It's just that everybody else in the world understood that the Christ was to come inside of us. And that's the difference between what the people are dealing with now and giving the preachers all their money. You see what I'm saying? And hoping some white man let them into heaven, is the Christ would come into all of us. So in this particular part here, this particular Coptic thing that says Ikas or whatever, which is another name, they have a picture of a rooster and chicken in a chicken recipe, which is saying in actuality, who would ever know that they got a chicken recipe as what would be the Christ food? And who would ever know the lofty heights that we would take this shit the last 200 years? Because even when they did this thing, and it's just interesting here how things go. But it's interesting here. Now, what you say? No, what are you trying to say that chicken going on? I'm trying to tell you this. Whenever you are in trouble health-wise, and your soul needs to do what it needs to cure you, or cure itself, or cure the body, it might not respond to some shit that the doctor give you. You see what I'm saying? In the hospital, it might not respond to what some health vegetarian person tell you you might need to do. It might respond to what it wants. So it might need some fucking fried chicken. I'm telling you the spirit stuff, how the spirit world goes. You see what I'm saying? And remember, if it sounds ridiculous, you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to go do it the ridiculous. Remember on the movie, The Matrix, she said, no one has ever done this before. You're going into a government facility. No one has ever done this before. And he said, that's exactly why it's going to work. That's the same story with the Roman Vandals. The Vandals was a bunch of illiterate Germans. And Rome had kicked people's ass for damn near 1,000 years. And the people would say, you just don't go up against the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire You know, so they were weak for about 100 years and nobody ever challenged them because they made such a reputation of kicking ass until it became a mythology. It became a religion. It became a form of consciousness that you can't win against the Roman Empire, about like America. You see what I'm saying? And here goes some people that didn't understand the mythology because they were from Germany and they were illiterate. So they couldn't read. So they went up in there and kicked Rome ass. And people said, oh shit, Rome fell. So this is the same concept when it comes to your healing sometime. Your healing sometime means you sick. The Spirit might tell you to do something outrageous, and you always pass that off. It's just on the phone calling all the so-called experts. But the Spirit told you what you need to do. You see what I'm saying? Spirit told you what you need to do. And it's just like we got a friend, Nathan. Nathan weighed about 400 pounds. And the Spirit just told him, you know, you need to start drinking that vinegar in the morning, drinking vinegar in the morning and vinegar in the evening. And he just started losing weight. You see what I'm saying? The point I'm trying to make here is a lot of this stuff is going to come up out of you because you are already advanced. And so what we're dealing with here tonight to try to understand this is got to come to this point whereas we start totally having faith or start having faith in the inner self. And it might be something ridiculous. It might be some music. Like take for instance, okay, I used to get up at night and pump my music. Well, since I lived in a house, it really didn't resonate because it's an old house. That means it means that it's got what you call it insulated. It's insulated at a certain level so the neighbors don't even hear the music. And I used to pump this music late at night. So when Linda came, you got to be considerate of a person that's asleep, and I can't pump the music like that, you know. And so she said, oh no, you know, because she used to live in Sun Ra's house because she used to dance for the musician Sun Ra. And she was like, no, those musicians, they get up, that was the rule. They get up at night if they had an epiphany, they got to go play the music. Nobody ever tell them to stop beating on the drums. I said, yeah, but you know, shit. You know, hey, you know, as times get on, you know, you might be in a good sleep, and I might pump this music. So I said, no, I know, I'm going to go and get me a serious pair of headphones. And something's like, nah, you know, you're going to mess your hearing up with this type thing. And I said, no, I used to do this before. And I used to get into the headphones. I used to heal myself in the mornings. And that's how I got through working on the gig the last time I worked on the gig. I'd get up in the morning, I'd put that music on, and you get a hum in your ear. It's the first song you hear. You ever had a song and you can't get it out your head? This shit takes on a mind of its own, and you be like, damn, I've been humming this song all day long. But that's something that has something to do with the soul and the spirit and what it needs to get the day on. It's like your soundtrack, your mantra, your theme song for the day. To go face some damn niggas and some crackers. You know what I'm saying? So I used to get up under that. So it's interesting here. I said, nah, but my hearing is kind of messed up and shit. So I went and got me a serious pair of headphones. Cost about $80. I went to pawn shop and got them for $20. And I put them things on. This was right before Christmas, and it's done heal. I can hear better now than I could hear before I had the headphones. And I'm like, what's going on? I can hear sounds and stuff. But what it was is it tapped into the inner ear melanin. And because if you can see in this room, I got a couple of thousand albums and stuff and got everything. I even got some fucking Johnny Cash. Where did that shit come from? Now I got all the soul, all the 70s soul, and one day I was like, shit. I'm going to go get some Johnny Cash. That shit sound good. But I remember my granddaddy was playing some shit one time as a little boy, and it always is in you. It's inside of you. Whatever you experience is always with you all your life. So I heard he played some Johnny Cash shit. And I heard this thing as a little boy. He liked James Brown, but he played some Johnny Cash. And I heard this thing on a movie one night, and I said, I got to go get that. And it didn't make no logical sense of why I got to go get some Johnny Cash. But then again, Johnny Cash ain't did nothing but hung out with niggas and the blues. That's all. So all that country is nothing but another form of their blues. The blues is the base root of all shit. You see what I'm saying? So now, so I'm saying here is I heal something with the inner ear melanin. So the point I'm trying to make here is it might be some stuff ridiculous, but we got to get out of the rudimentary and this routine or this orthodox way we think about things. Even when it comes to scholars coming before you making sense. I was at the Melanin Conference, and and I do them every year. We do them, and they had all these scholars. So we was on the podium, and all they was talking about, people's diet is fucked up, and this, and that, and this, and that. And the Spirit said, everything that they saying what black people is going through, diet-wise and everything, is what the melanin actually needs. What the melanin actually needs, because it's in another dimension. I'll go through that because I want to explain that. So y'all hold me on that one. I'm going ahead of myself right now, and I know that's kind of getting you all off course. You see what I'm saying? But what I mean here is, sometimes it's going to take something outside of what your logical mind tells you. You know what I'm saying? It's got, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the emperor that has no clothes. And everybody was just laughing, oh, you just so beautiful. He's sitting up there naked and shit. And the little boy didn't go by the same, the same orthodox mentality and laughed at him. You remember that? And unclothed him. So that's the whole concept here, what we're dealing with here. Especially when we're dealing with a particular God called Pan. I'm going to show you a couple of these right now. But the one we're going to deal with, I want to deal with Exhibit A. Put that on, yeah. Let's see if you can do that. This is the...
Brother Bobby, can you see the author of the book, The Ancient Christian Magic?
Ancient Christian Magic by Marvin Mayer. Which is interesting here because they got Horus and Osiris up in this stuff. By Marvin, yeah. This is the god Pan. He became the poster boy for the devil. Can y'all see that? I'm going ahead of myself. This is the Greek form, which is Phoenician. Now we find out your Greeks, their mythology come from Phoenicia. You get pre-dynastic Egyptian that travels up into Babylon, Samaria, Phoenician, and all Phoenicia, Manoah, and later on that's where your Greeks and your Romans got their stuff from the Minoans, Phoenicians, and Etruscans. So this is one of the earlier forms, and he has little goat feet, if you can see, but I just want to show you this. Now this is an earlier form. This is the Greek form, and this is the Egyptian form. Now I got these for sale too also, for $5. They got a lot of magic to them, a lot of magic. So don't front on the. This is one called the All God. So this is the pre-dynastic form. This is the All God. Yeah, y'all go on through that way. Yeah. All right now. Yeah, y'all going through. We got some more chairs? Yeah, okay. This is called the All God. And this is the same form of the god Pan. Yep. Of the god Pan. Now, which means in some kind of way, and I don't know how you're going to do it, it's going to be some magic to pull some magic out of the hat. But in some kind of way, you're going to have to become like a little child. Now, that don't necessarily mean you got to come around here and be jumping rope out there and want to get on the little short bus and take the little short bus to school and all kind of stuff like that. We're not talking about that. What's that? Move over a little bit. Yeah, well, this is about, well, you know how it is. They can hear a nigga voice now. Think of me as Michael Baisley. You see what I'm saying? The Michael Baisley show. Y'all don't know how this nigga look. Speaking down to y'all with that little bit of commentary. And y'all thinking that's worthwhile, y'all want to hear some shit a nigga speaking down to you about. White folks is two white boys wrote Good Will Hunting, 22 years old. And y'all listening to some shit speaking down to y'all. Oh, is the telephone in here? Or you can just put it in there and that way, because I know some of the people still, you know how it is, wait the last minute trying to get directions and shit like that. But anyway, you're going to have to become as as a child, because these particular entities is the dwarf entity that represents the other world. It also represents the child is not talking about the baby that comes into the world and incarnates that you are thinking it is. This child is talking about the potential of the future. It's talking about something that hadn't been born yet, but when it is born, it's going to be the new future. It's going to be the gateway. It is the new reality outside of the matrix. That's why it's called pan, outside of the circles of time. Now, what this means is, because this particular energy is on the planet and it came through within the last month or so, last 2 months, that means that we are really stuck inside of this particular time of a new beginning. This is a great time. Like, take for instance, I went to Baltimore and was doing this lecture, and I did a little sit down the next day, and the guy said, I don't want to put you near the Christmas tree. I said, yeah, no, you don't need to. We don't need to put me near the Christmas tree. We done talked enough about that. And then Pan came through, because Pan came through and said, well, all of that stuff is my symbology. The pine, the tree, and the different things, the toys, and all this type of thing. So we're talking about the toy world, or we're talking about more of a fairy world or a fairyland. So we're trying to tell people now you're going to have to dig deep inside and become that little child, no more than what our artists have already done, like Parliament Funkadelic, Roger Troutman, you know what I'm saying? Even some Michael Jackson with the whole Peter Pan. You see what I'm saying? Now, we ain't talking about now getting you some wine and some pills and sleeping over with a whole other little juveniles and little boys and stuff like that. We're not talking about a physical lifestyle. We're talking about a concept that can ease you up even when you on them jobs. You know what I'm saying? It's what comedy does, which is just become buffoonery in our aspect, like fucking Martin with this Big Mama 2. You know what I'm saying? And this nigga, they say he makes more money than any black actor in Hollywood, especially when he does the more buffoonery pictures, he get more money. And that's because the white boy pay him an incentive to keep that foolishness up. You see what I'm saying? But what we're talking about here, and we're going to go into this in a few minutes. I was going ahead of myself. We're going to go into this in a few minutes. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about a form of going into a little child. So what I'm going to do is bringing the child archetype out. Let me see. There's a book here. Let's see. I got a little book wrote here. I might have to go in the other room and get some more. But here's a book called Essays on Science and Mythology. The Myth of the Divine Child and the Mysteries of Eleusis. This is by Carl Carini and Carl Jung. And this is a book, Essays on Mythology and the Divine Child. It's coming from a bigger book called Archetypes of the Collective Unconsciousness. The divine child that I'm giving you and all this type of stuff, guess what the divine child is? It's nothing but your soul. They say, and a child led them. That's even in the Bible, right? That's nothing but your soul. You must become before you can come to the kingdom of heaven, you must become as a child. So what we're dealing with here now is the divine child. So we're going to start a practice now of the divine child as coming into your own, coming into yourself. How many people stay by themselves? Okay, you stay by yourself? Start walking around naked. You see what I'm saying? You know, some people can't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? It can be quite vulgar. You see? Because if you ain't horny, the human body can be mighty ugly on the wrong damn day. But, so what I'm trying to get at here is you're trying to break down layers of what has happened to us in this adulthood. This adulthood has suppressed the ego and it's trying to break down these layers. And what it is we all stressed out. And what it is we got to become a little child again. But now, what we're talking about here now, we're not talking about a little child in the particular aspect of you Number one, becoming co-partners with your child, something like that, and not being a parent. We're not talking about that. But what we're talking about here is that somehow in your mind, you have to reverse the polarities of what this beast has put us into at this particular time. You're going to have to reverse that, and it has nothing to do with age. It's just the way you think of things that you say, shit, I wouldn't have thought about that because I'm too much of an adult. But maybe a child would think about that because it didn't have the experience of being told that this is the way something is supposed to be. You get where I'm coming from here? Now, what I want to do first, to put this on, I want to show you 2 or 3 things. I want to show you this one first. I'm going to show you this. This is the King Kong movie. Now, I'm trying to think here. Should I put this up here so everybody can see it? And show it? And then I'm going to do it all in one step because people can't see it. But nobody can see the TV screen, huh? Okay.